What's good, people? It is your guy Travelmatic, and we are back with another Matic Mondays. If this is your first time joining us, we talk about all things digital nomad, remote working, transferring your skills if you're trying to get into IT, and a little travel as well, tied all into that. And we ball it up, have some fun, and welcome. So like and subscribe, share this with your people. This is going to be good information we're dropping. We always drop gems. We always want you to come back with something, learning something. If it's your returning time, what's good? We are back. We are back. We try to stay consistent. It's all about consistency in this YouTube game. But we have Tiffany, as always, as my wonderful co-host. What's going on?
Hi, y'all. I miss y'all. I feel like it's been a while since we talked, but it hasn't. But it just be feeling like that. I be missing y'all in between our time off. So hey, happy Monday.
Yes. And tonight, we're just gonna go get right to it. I have been tracking this lady for a while. She came up in my algorithm. I saw her content on Instagram, and I said, "Man, this is dope." I'm trying to get out this Colombia, Brazil, South America type content, venturing over to Europe with some people that look like us that's doing something similar to us. And I said I have to get this young lady on the show, so I slid into her DMs and I said, "Hey, I got this show. I would love to have you on." And she was on it like, when? Like now? I'm like, no, not right now. just I'm about to set it up, and then we'll coordinate from that point. And without no further introduction, we have Candace from Portugal, live from Portugal.
Hi.
Yes.
Hello.
Oh, awesome. We are glad to have you here.
Yes, we are.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, by way of California.
Yes.
Burbank, you said, right? Just a minute ago, right?
Yep. Burbank. Yeah.
Yes, I told someone the other day, Orange County. I don't know, I heard Orange County from somewhere, but he's from Burbank, y'all. So yes, definitely give us a little intro about yourself, because you have a YouTube channel too that I just found out like 2 days ago or 3 days ago. So
yeah.
About yourself.
Well, I have a YouTube channel that's Looking to Bounce, basically YouTube/Looking to Bounce. And then I post a lot on Instagram at Looking to Bounce. And basically, me and my family, I have 2 kids, I have a husband, I have a dog, and we lived in LA. And we've been working remote for, a little bit before the pandemic, since the pandemic. And we were like, there's a lot going on. It feels a little wild, and maybe we need to bounce out of here. So we decided to at least give it a try. And so now we live in Portugal, and we've been really enjoying it. And I've been sharing kind of the ups and downs, what's it been like, things I discover from clean gas stations to what it's like having a doctor come to your house. Actually, my daughter is under the weather right now. I'm going to call a doctor tomorrow morning to come over to come see her. So yeah, just what it's like living here and doing this whole thing.
Wait, your doctor will come to your house?
A doctor will come to your house.
Man, we're getting screwed in the US. We are getting screwed.
They have mobile doctors. I live in Cascais, Portugal. So 35 minutes outside of Lisbon, near the beach, near the water. And the city of Cascais, you call and they have, they can, there's a nurse, I think they can refer you to a clinic, or you can have a doctor come to you. We did it one time when we first got here because we thought my son was having an allergic reaction, but then we gave him some medicine and it calmed down. And then another time he was seeming under the weather. We're like, let's just try it. let's just see what happens. We didn't know how much it was going to be. We're like, let's just give it a shot, see what happens. So they came over. It was €45. She checked him out, looked at him. It took about an hour and a half for her to get there, and she was super nice. It was a really great experience and something I would have never experienced in the States.
Wow, that's like Dr. Uber or Dr. DoorDash.
Yeah, it was totally like that. It was wild, but yeah.
For those of you who don't know where Portugal is, will you mind, Candace, explaining where Portugal is?
Yeah, so it's in Europe. It's the eastern, I think, kind of like the easternmost country. So you know where Spain is, right?
Most.
So it's like you see Spain, and then there's like this little sliver, like on the ocean next to Spain. That's Portugal. It's like this little sliver there, and it's basically kind of like right there within Spain is like above and to the east. And then you have the continent of Africa pretty much right below. So that's kind of where we are.
Awesome.
Nice.
So, go ahead, Adrian, because
No,
I
I
got
was.
100 questions.
I know. Let me get mine in before you even jump to it. The name. How did you come up with the name "Looking to Bounce"? What's the
Because we were looking to bounce. Basically, I was like, I wonder if other people are just like looking to bounce. Like, you know what? Things are getting a little hot. I need to bounce. So that's kind of why I came up with it. And
Very clever.
just, and when you are kind of looking to bounce out of the United States, like I think sometimes you want to know, like, for real, what's happening. Like before we left, I watched all kinds of like channels and Instagrams and tried to get as much information as I can of like what people were really experiencing, and went to like Facebook groups and stuff. And so I thought I would share our experience too, because they're all unique, like our family, I have a white husband, I have mixed kids, I'm Black, like, our family has its unique things about it. So I figured I'd share our unique experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and she's a very open book. She wants to talk about her digital nomad life, her interracial life,
Sure.
being Black in Portugal as well too. So I like that you're very open about talking about all of that with us today. Tiffany, what you got?
Well, I want to kind of start from what you do for a living and how you chose Portugal.
Okay, so for a living, I'm a video editor, like a television editor for TV, film, reality, doc, and so is my husband.
That's dope.
Yeah, so we both have been doing it for a long time, and yeah, and so we, our jobs were such that we did go into offices, and then when the pandemic happened, we didn't anymore, and it really is it. I mean, you're sitting in a room by yourself for 10 hours, like messing with footage. You kind of don't need to be anywhere but your house, So it kind of was a really good job for staying remote, and it has for the most part. And so we were like, maybe let's give it a try. And so Portugal, we were kind of we knew we wanted to leave the country, and we were kind of looking into lots of places that had like, oh, there you go, that had like, digital like not digital nomad, like visa programs and stuff that were kind of helpful in getting there. But we also wanted a country that was a lower cost of living, because there's definitely places that are great but are expensive, and we wanted a place where it was a bit lower cost of living, because California is really, really expensive. Los Angeles is really expensive. And we wanted a place that was exponentially safer. And Portugal is like, the 7th safest country in the world. We also liked how it's green and friendly, and like all their initiatives with that. We loved the weather, because we come from good weather. We wanted good weather. There were a lot of reasons why Portugal, like the more we researched, the more we looked into it, just kept, checking all the boxes and things that we were like, oh, this seems like it might be a really good fit for us.
Was that your first choice?
Once we knew, yeah, it was pretty much the first choice. Like we looked in a couple other places, but there were like things that kind of like didn't quite, hit all the marks for us, because I mean, we have 2 kids, school age kids, so safety was like kind of number one of all the things. And we didn't, there's a lot of great places that are wonderful, that are safer and lower cost of living, but like we didn't want so much of a lateral safety move. We wanted like a major safety upgrade for our kids. So that was one of the reasons why we chose Portugal.
You know, we've had a lot of people who have left the United States and now live abroad, and they all have their various reasons. And you've kind of touched on your reasons. And the question I always ask is, what was the feedback from your family? Now, and the reason why I ask this is because you kind of have two different dynamics here. You being an interracial couple,
Mm-hmm.
you know, typically, what I've, from my experience, Black families tend to be a lot more resistant to the idea of their family member living abroad if they're not in the military, versus perhaps Caucasian families. So maybe can you give us some insight to what your family said and maybe what his family said, and kind of how are you guys dealing with that distance now?
Yeah. Our families were both pretty supportive of the whole process. So, you know, I told my mother, you know what, I'm sorry, my dog wants to go to bed and he wants to get in the door that's right here. Let me get him out. Bye. Sorry. He was going to scratch until I let him out. So, yeah, so I told my mom. She was definitely like surprised, but yeah, she was pretty supportive of it. She's like, yeah, I get it. I'm very close with my sister. I have a younger sister, and it totally made sense to her. And she actually came and visited over the holidays, and you know, loved it here as well. And then my husband's family, I feel like they were mostly supportive. There wasn't really a lot of like opposition or anyone. Um, you know, people raised questions or wondered kind of like reasonings and stuff like that, but everyone was pretty chill about it. Honestly, I was kind of surprised how chill people were about it.
Hmm. My guy Jordan in the comments, welcome Jordan. Actually, Jordan said, Tiffany, looks like you're losing weight.
Jordan.
Yeah, you remember Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan, pay attention to the right things.
All right. He says that's Jordan. Jordan is from California too. I forgot which. He's from LA. He's from LA.
Cool.
Yeah, I told him you were coming on. He was excited to because he likes Brazil a lot. He's looking to move to
Oh,
Brazil.
cool. I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, so that Brazil Portuguese thing there.
Yeah.
He said that's the slang word for in California looking to bounce. I guess that's something y'all commonly say there, or you just.
It's new to me, but tell me about it. I don't know. I don't know.
He also says, "Have you been to Portugal before before moving?"
Yeah, we took a scouting trip before we moved. We November of 2022 we came, and we came with our kids. We had like 8 days between their like Thanksgiving break, and we just like hit it hard. So we had kind of done a lot of research like online and looking at maps and things like that, and looking at videos and researching things, and we had kind of decided, okay, you know, if this even feels right, we're going to look into Lisbon, we're going to look into Cascais, and we're going to look into Madeira Island. Those were the places that we were considering moving to, and so we visited and spent a little time in all three.
Mm.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the YouTube couple Our Rich Journey?
Yeah. I watched a lot of their stuff before, like when we were kind of like trying to figure out, is Portugal a thing we're into? Do we even want to do this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of their videos.
Yeah, I think they were pretty. It'd probably be the best for you to watch because they got a family, 2 daughters, and they talk about saving for moves and good content they have. Really, really good. And they moved way before the pandemic, actually.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
they were one of the people that I looked at their videos and stuff, and I watched travel shows, that type of thing. But there's lots of great areas of the country. But for us, we're like, okay, you know, we didn't think we wanted to go down to the Algarve because it sounded like, um, you know, it was like, I don't know. I don't know if it's mostly Americans and British, but like it sounded like it was a very big population there. And we were hoping to come someplace that was a bit more mixed, although there's a lot of expats here in Cascais. But I don't know. I feel like we kind of landed in a place here where you know, there are people from other places, but there are lots of Portuguese people. We have opportunities to practice Portuguese, although everyone speaks English around here mostly.
Oh,
But
wow.
like, if you try and you're like making the effort and you're trying to do it, you can practice. And there's been several times someone's like, "Do you want me to speak English?" And I'll be like, "No, no, no. Let me try."
Right.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
you want to immerse yourself, like just throw yourself in there. That's the best way to learn.
Yeah.
yeah. But we knew going someplace where it was like nothing but people speaking Portuguese was going to be too hard. And we wanted to be realistic. Like, well, we know we can't handle that, but we also don't want to go someplace where no one's speaking Portuguese. You know what I mean? So something like that. But
Okay. Okay. Because this was it. The Silver Coast is where most of the California people and Americans. I think it's something called the Silver Coast, or it's along the.
yeah, up the coast,
Mhm.
west coast and stuff. And I think the further north, like, further away from Lisbon, I think it can become a bit more affordable. We're kind of down in like an area closer to Lisbon, so it's not like the most affordable part of Portugal where we live. But as compared to California and Los Angeles, it is more affordable for us, but it is relative. It depends on where you're coming from and that type of thing.
Okay. One more question, if I pass it back to you, Tiffany, because Mocha came up with a question that made me think about something that the conversation you and I had offline. She said, ask her, she didn't want to find anything in the Caribbean. And our conversation Saturday, because I told you how many places I've been. You was like, I haven't been that many, and I was like, well, so you just went to one place? Because most people look around,
Yeah.
from 3 or 4 countries or cities, and you just went to one place and you was like, this is it.
Yeah, we researched online different places because we looked at, I think, where was it? I think it was Barbados was one of the places that we had looked into. Um, but like after looking, at you know, like safety, this, that, like schools, like all the different things and where we had access to go to from there, right? That was a big one too, because we were like, that's why we didn't move to Madeira Island here, because we thought about it. We were just like, I don't think we want to live on an island, like, period. I think that would be difficult for us to live on an island. It would be wonderful, but I think that um, being here where we have such easy access to go to so many other countries in Europe and in Africa and islands was like a cool option for us,
And I'm going to Barbados in October, and having looked at your channel and kind of looked at your content and your family, I mean, if you were told me you were picking Barbados over Portugal, I would probably ask why also, because I love the Caribbean, right? Don't get me wrong. I've traveled to different countries in the Caribbean, and I appreciate them. But I could see in your particular situation why Portugal would be such a big drive, especially with young kids, because I think the access to it really puts you where you can kind of access several different continents.
Yeah.
Whereas the Caribbean, I'm not saying that you can't leave Barbados and go to Japan, but I'm saying it'd be as a family, it would be more economical and easier to be able to leave Portugal and go to Japan than it would be Barbados. You know what I mean? So it's not,
Yeah.
there's a lot of other factors. If you take just those little pieces out of it, your children are now going to be children of the world. They're going to have access to different levels of education, not just because they're in Portugal, but because of you guys' ability to be able to be mobile and travel to different locations. They have different, for example, they're not in school. You know, they have a big period where they're out of school, right?
Yeah, they have their summer break, and here also like they have a big they have like a 2-week Easter break, they have Carnival break, they have some big
they've got
breaks.
a lot more flexibility in how you can utilize that time than, you know, again, you've got to still look at the economics of it. It might be beautiful to be in Barbados, but then you're in Barbados and that's where you pretty much are. Where you're in Portugal, you can go anywhere you want for a weekend, 4 days, and you're in France for 4 days, or you're in Italy for 4 days, or you're in Spain for 3 days. You know, you have access to so much more. So I can see how that would be a big part of your decision.
For my daughter's birthday, she had her first birthday away from home, away from, her friends and stuff like that. And she really wanted to go to London. And for us, like what we would have spent for like a party or something like that for her, we could go to London for like a weekend with her, and she really appreciated it, or, if, we're going to like Madeira Island and seeing what that's about, like in it, like the flights between countries, depending on when you travel and, whatnot.
You have those factors, but still it's a little easier. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's stuff that we couldn't do like, in the States, and that's kind of why we didn't want to live on an island. Also, I actually don't love flying. I don't love it. And so the idea that to go anywhere, I'd have to fly off the island, get to a place, and then from there go I was like, you know what? How about we just aren't on an island?
Because you got the train option there. You can take the train to France, to Germany, to London. You can take it that train to a lot of different countries.
Yeah.
And I was telling you on Saturday too that I didn't realize until I was in Spain that I could fly to Morocco in an hour for like $80 round trip. This was 2020. I don't know if it's higher than that now, but I was like, wow, I can fly to Africa. Like it's nothing for under $100. It was crazy. That Ryanair is legit.
It is wild. A friend of mine just came. She lives in New York, and she came to Lisbon, came to Cascais, stayed with us for a little bit, and then she went down to Morocco, and she was in Marrakesh. She was out in the deserts doing like some sort of tour, and then she came back, and then she went to Azores, to the islands and stuff. Like she like bounced all around, and it was like hour-and-a-half flight here, 2-hour flight there. It was kind of crazy. So
yes,
it's a kind of world of possibilities in that way, which is cool,
Yeah. I want to touch on some other things. I actually have 2 Caucasian brother-in-laws. So I want to talk about, your family dynamic and, kind of how you guys got together and, really how that may have helped you in your move to Portugal. Becoming from California, which, California is pretty diverse, but it's still in the U.S., so there's still a fairly number. We're still in a Caucasian majority country. So, tell me about your family and your husband and how that might have helped you in moving to Europe.
Wow. Well, yeah. So my husband, I've been with him for 10,000 years. So we met in 2004 when I was 2004. Geez, when I was 23. We've been together 20 years. We've been married 18 years in July. Been together a long time. So yeah, and we met like at a Super Bowl party in Hollywood. With the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, the nip slip, that whole thing. Like
no,
there party. And yeah, and then that was it. We were just, together. And yeah, I don't know. I think from all I've heard and noticed, it seems like coming from the US does make it easier to go other places. Coming from California, I don't know if that changes anything. I mean, if anything, maybe just because he's not from California. He's from New Jersey and lived in New York for a lot of years. And we met in LA after he had moved there. And I don't know, maybe just both of us being kind of more open-minded to the idea that that was a possibility. Like, we both are fairly open-minded people, open-minded enough to find each other and be like, yeah, this is good. This is rad. We like this, and I don't know. It's something that's always been kind of brewing in our heads, but nothing we actually thought we'd do.
Yeah.
But circumstances with things in the US and their directions and the way it's heading, and also like opportunity kind of met. And thankfully, like both of us, I mean, we're a really good partnership. We've been together a long time. Like we kind of were on the same page about most things. And, when he was just like, this is starting to get kind of crazy here. And I was like, maybe we don't have to be here. He's like, maybe we don't. I'm like, we should look into it. He's like, yeah, maybe we should. And then we were both like just on it. And
I love that.
That was it. And, neither one of us took any convincing. I didn't need to convince him. He needed to convince me. Like, we both were like, yeah, let's go.
Just bounce. Let's just bounce.
Let's go. It's time. Like, we out. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if there's much to it, except that, at this point, together this long, we've kind of mind melded, the two of us. So we're almost one person in a way. It's weird.
Definitely.
Jordan has another good question that I want to do a small little segue.
Also, hi, Jordan.
He's with us. He's participating tonight. He says, how do your children react to moving there? I'm glad they're learning a new language. How did they adjust in the new culture? Because you have a 14 and a 6-year-old, right?
A 14-year-old and a 6-year-old. So they are reacting very differently.
Right.
I have a 6-year-old boy, and all the change is hard for. It's hard for all of us. Like, while it's wonderful, it's also really hard. Like everything is different. Like there is nothing that is the same, and it's and it's thanks, Jordan. And it's for them, it's really hard because they weren't the ones driving the decision. Although we talked to them about it every step of the way, like they were part of it every step of the way. It's really different once you're in it. And now you've done it, I found myself in the first few days, like having a little bit of panic attacks. Like, what did I do? What did we do? Why do we do this? What just happened? Like, I'm not in my house, like stuff like that. So it's like, it just happens, even though it's something you want, right? So with the kids, the 6-year-old, he has, he's had some tantrums, he's had some acting out and some things like that in response to, I think, all the change, but mostly he's thriving. Like, he's made a lot of friends. He goes to a Portuguese school, so he's like learning the language like faster than any of us. And he's participating in sports, and like he has his whole little world that is like going really well. For my daughter, who's 14, it is significantly harder because 13, 14 is just
hard anyway.
Yeah, it's a hard age to like, even like when we were home, it was a hard age.
Yeah.
We were back in the
hard age. It's just 13, 14.
Yeah, and she's been a girl. Like, it's just, there's so much happening. It's just rough. And then coming here, and we tried a school, which is a common thing where you like, you sign your kid up for school, this and that, and you realize, that's not the fit. And then you have to swap out. So we had a school, it was not a fit. Kids were not nice. Like it just wasn't a fit. And then we found her a new school, this school seems to be a really good fit for her. And, she's starting to like get her footing, but with her, it's just going to take some more time, but we're trying to get her involved in things and, but it's hard. It's hard.
Let me ask you, and maybe you may not have the answer to this, but I don't know what social media usage is like for teenage girls in Portugal, but it's pretty. You these days in the U.S. you hardly see your kids without their phone in their hand, right?
Yeah.
And so, what is it very different over there with the youth as far as like social media or the having the devices in their hand, or are you seeing pretty much the same thing?
That it's hard for me to know. At the school she was at before, they definitely had like a policy where like kids had to take their phones and put them in like a pocket at the door, when they come into class and stuff. And it did seem like there was a lot of kids on social media there. My daughter is not really one of them. Like she has a phone, she has WhatsApp, so she can like talk to her friends. She can friend like her friends like on Snapchat, but she has like no Facebook, no Instagram, like none of that. Like we're not letting her have any of it yet. Like not yet, not now. So yeah. I think it's probably similar to what it is in the States, but I couldn't be 100% sure.
How long have you guys been in Portugal, and what made you start the social media channel, specifically the YouTube, to kind of document your journey?
Well, we have been here now 7 months. So we got here August 9th. So we got here at the tail end of summer and then started school and everything. And I was thinking about it, before we left. And so I was like, like I've watched so many people's channels and stuff to like get information, and like I'm having my own experience. Like, why not share it? And if nothing else, it's like a cool like diary of like everything that's like going on and happening, and I'm a video editor. Like, I have, like editorial and writing and all these different skills. I'm just like, well, I might as well do something with it for myself. It's not for someone else, So that's pretty much how it started. And it's, there's just been so many things to discover, like as we've gone through the process, and, things that I didn't see people talk about, and things that like I heard some of, but I didn't know of. And now I've had my own experience. I'm just like, well, let me add it to the pool of things out there, because I know I wanted to know so much before we took this leap,
So how are you using your video editing skills, or your husband using video editing skills for your own channel, your own content?
Oh, well, I mean, I basically edit like all of my reels and videos for the YouTube and for the Instagram. And, if I'm talking about something that's like an in-depth thing, like I write it all. And yeah, I basically use it for that, in between work. So yeah, because we're also still working, like remotely as video editors for like TV and film projects.
Okay, so I have a big question, and you can say I'm not allowed to answer that, but is there anything you worked on that we might have seen?
Oh yeah. So I worked on Surviving R. Kelly.
No, you didn't.
I did. Yeah. And for that, we got a Peabody for that, which was really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, right now I'm working on a documentary that you wouldn't know about, but you will eventually when it comes out.
Exclusive.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know when it's going to come out because we're still working on it, but it's an indie doc, and it's called Show Gals, emphasis on Al, because it's about a burlesque troupe who does Weird Al themed burlesque, and it's pretty fun. What else have I worked on?
For anybody who doesn't know who Weird Al is, his name is Weird Al Yankovic, and back in the 80s, he was a comedian. But he was really well known for his imitations of other artists, and he would do
Yeah, all
music
his
videos
songs.
and basically mock their music with his own lyrics, but with the same, general sound of the other songs. So
Yeah.
he got really famous for that. And yeah, that's hilarious,
Yeah.
actually.
So that's a fun one. Yeah, like between me and my husband, let me see, what else have I worked on? So I worked on that. I've worked on Iyanla Fix My Life. I worked on a lot of seasons of Iyanla. I worked on
That's rough editing.
yeah, there was a lot of crying. A lot of crying and editing at the same time.
A lot of
Like
anger, a lot of outbursts.
a lot of a lot of trauma happening with people.
Yeah.
But it was it was a good show to work on, and I worked with a lot of really cool people, because I mean that's the best part, like the people that you work with. And I worked with some really great people on that. I worked on My Big Fat Fabulous Life. I've worked on a lot. I've worked on a lot of different
Oh,
shows.
I like that
Yeah.
show.
And my husband too, like he worked on The Ultimate Fighter for a really long time. He's worked on lots of different things, so many things.
So doing that remotely, do they upload the video file to like a cloud and then you access it and edit, or how does that work when you're remotely?
That's a really good question. So yeah, so basically, you it works the same way it did when we were in Los Angeles. So after the pandemic, they basically did a thing where you would just log into like their server through like a secure, like their own like VPN, or like the thing like Jump. I don't know if you've heard of Jump, where you can basically log into another computer securely. So basically, you're from your computer remote controlling this other computer. Before we were in LA, and that computer was like in North Hollywood, and then like now we're in Portugal, and that computer is somewhere in LA.
Yeah, you have what you call a virtual monitor. That's what it's called.
Yeah, so then we have like our setup here with everything, and it looks just like we're editing on our computer, but we're logging into a different computer that that has everything that's hooked to all of the footage and all the things there. And basically you just need a good internet connection. And here in Portugal, pretty much everything is fiber. It's like super fast, so there's no lag, there's no issues. It's no different than being in LA, sitting at my house, than it is being here.
Nice. I wanted to go back to our very well engaged chat guy here, Jordan. Do everyone want to be around your family, talk to you about California politics and religion?
Like here
in Portugal, like because you're an American, they like to like, hey, have you ever, or do you like Trump or do you like Biden? Go Obama, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's come up like a couple of times here and there, but in like silly, funny ways. But generally, people aren't really so much asking about that unless like we bring it up. Because if sometimes people will be like, well, you're from like California, because like I think to a lot of people who are other places, they're like, California is like a place I want to go. So why'd you come here? And and then we're just like, well, quite a few reasons actually. And then it might come up in that way. There was one time when we were doing like some of our like paperwork or whatever. I was doing some paperwork at some like official office, and I had to like pay for something, and the guy was like, 5 more if you like Trump. And I was like, no. He was like, good answer. I'm like, why do you think I'm here? Absolutely not. So it was like silly little things like that. But generally people know. I get the sense that people like know that things are going on in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But no one's really like focused on it when we talk to them or anything, or like really so much ask us about any of that stuff.
Yeah, because his second comment was, when I was in Brazil, this guy told me he wanted to visit Compton. He heard about it so much, and I laughed to myself. Yeah, it's just, they see a lot of things on TV. I used to get it a lot about Trump and Obama, their opinions, and I don't like Trump. I don't like Trump. Obama. I love Obama. He's a great guy. Like yeah, he's pretty good, pretty good.
Oh, there was one time a delivery guy came to deliver something, and my husband came to the door, and I think like he was like, "Oh, American?" He's like, "Yeah," and he was just like, "You like Trump?" And my husband was like, "No, like no," and the guy was just like, "No, but he's very strong," and he was just like, "Bro, like wrong audience." No. Like it was a funny one.
Mocha was wondering if your husband was Italian or white American.
He's not Italian. I mean, he's white American, but he's a mix of like, he's half Polish and like English, Irish.
Okay. Cool. I know it was another part here. Mocha says, what about sports? Does her husband or son want to play football, or what is her son interested in?
Oh yeah.
So soccer, you mean, soccer, football?
Yeah, football. Yeah. So yeah, we've been trying to get into it since we've been here because we weren't really into it before. We're like, okay, we're here. We got to know football. We got to go to the local team thing. We got to do it. So my son actually, we signed him up to do jujitsu. So there's jujitsu here, and actually, back before the pandemic, me and my husband and daughter all did jujitsu.
Oh.
So we're familiar with it. We really like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And so we signed him up to do it here. And then he also does rugby. So, because that's kind of like...
It's big in Europe.
Yeah, more unique to Europe. And so far he likes it. So far he enjoys it.
What would you say has been your favorite or the biggest thing that impressed you about living in Portugal versus perhaps an experience in the US? Take the whole DoorDash doctor thing out of it. You're not allowed to use that's an unfair advantage. So you're not allowed to use that one. We already talked about that.
So not the healthcare. Okay. I would say a couple of things. One is that people are really, really nice. Like, people are really nice. People are really helpful. People, I mean, we're coming to this country. Like, there's been a lot of Americans coming to this country. I could see how people might want to be like, can you please leave? But like, people are very nice and helpful. And like, when you try to speak the language, they try to help you. Like, we've had really good experiences with people in that way, which has been really nice. And then also, I will say that being in an interracial couple, also, I am 7 inches taller than my husband. So we're used to getting like a lot of stares and sometimes commentary lobbed at us, especially when we were in LA. Like if we were on a date night, if we didn't have our kids with us, like once we had kids, it's like people generally don't like make commentary when you're like a family walking around, but like when it's the two of us, there can be commentary. And I've noticed that no one seems to care here. Like people just mind their own business, really. You know what I mean? Like even if someone notices, or even if someone like whatever, they're not staring, and they're like not feeling the need to like let their inner monologue come out and share it with us. And I find that very refreshing. That everyone doesn't have to just say what's on their mind about everything all the time. Yeah. So that's pretty lovely.
Yes. I know.
Food's amazing.
You said the food?
The food's amazing here. Like,
yes. We definitely gonna get to that part. I can't miss that part. We'll say that for the put you in the hot seat. Ask you a few questions. Jordan again says, how is the music there? You like it, or does it have to grow on you?
I don't know. Like I try to listen to the radio a lot to like pick
To
up
learn.
the language, you
Mhm.
know. And I don't know, the music that I've heard that's in Portuguese, like pop, rock, stuff like that, it's great. And then I hear a lot of popular American music everywhere I go too. So it doesn't feel that different. You know what I mean? Like, in that way. Um, yeah. And then I've heard some like fado, and because like fado is like kind of like the kind of like I guess like the national music here. It's like this like kind of soulful music of Lawning. I haven't gone to like a fado, like a bar to go see fado, but they had concerts on the beach at the end of the summer, and they had a lot of different singers come on and stuff. And I heard lots of different music that I hadn't heard before, and it was really beautiful. So
Mm.
it's neat experiencing all of it, honestly.
Nice, nice. And again, Jordan is helping with another segue here, because I spoke to you on Saturday about this as well with the visas, and because I was kind of curious because I knew you were only there for about 7 months in now.
Yeah.
So, so my, mind starts to thinking about like, okay, so how are you gonna like you made this move? There's a lot of visas that you can get. There's the golden visa that they call this one. I don't know if it's Europe based or is this just Portugal is the golden visa. But can you explain your plans on becoming a permanent resident?
Yeah, so basically, from what I understand, again, I don't know the entire everything because I'm still kind of new, but your residency is for 2 years. So we got residency for 2 years, and you can renew it every 2 years.
Temporary. Is that
Temporary
temporary?
residency.
Okay.
From what I understand, after 5 years, you can apply for citizenship. And I don't know what that all entails yet. One of the things you have to do, though, is pass A1 and A2 Portuguese language. So you have to be able to speak a certain amount of Portuguese and pass the test for that. And there may be some other things. I think when we get deeper in, we'll look into it. But that's kind of the broad strokes. But your residency, you can just keep renewing every 2 years if you don't want to get citizenship. But I believe in Portugal, I don't think you have to renounce your U.S. citizenship. I think you can be dual. I think like I think with Spain, I think you might have to renounce. I don't think you have to with Portugal, but I will look into that actually and get more information on it.
Okay. Yeah, because we've talked a lot about the because Portugal is one of the first ones that came out with the digital nomad.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we had a show about digital nomad and visas, and Portugal was probably one of the easier and more reasonable
Yeah.
ones. A little bit more hospitable to Canadians and Americans, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
The process, we didn't, I mean, I guess I've never been through this process before anywhere else, so I can't compare it. But it's a lot of paperwork and stuff, but I didn't find the process to be terribly difficult. I mean, there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of things, but that seemed to be it.
Mm. Yeah, because that it seemed like Europe in general is what is it, the Saskatchewan visa, like because you can go from
Shenzhen, I think.
Shenzhen or something like that. It starts with an S. The somebody will leave a comment about what it is, but you can you have the flexibility to go to and work in other countries in that region. That's like France and Germany. Like you can just hop around and have that flexibility to own other homes in that other countries like that because you're under that umbrella. I think it's like 10 Europe countries, and so it's very sought after. So it's a little hard. So the digital nomad visa kind of was like a backdoor way, an easy backdoor way instead of doing like a investment visa where you had to pay like 150,000, I think, or something to get that.
Yeah, and it got more here. I feel like the last time, I mean, they ended it, or at least were in the process of ending it, and then I think there was a shakeup with the prime minister. There's some stuff, but they were ending it. But I think the last time I checked, because I looked, and it was something like, I think it had to be like 300,000 euro into something. And like, it depended, there were like, I think there were tiers. Yeah, it was expensive. The digital nomad was, I mean, essentially the same as like a D7 for the most part. I think just that showing that you still have income versus like, you know, having like passive income.
So speaking of staying, are you renting or did you purchase something in Portugal?
We are renting because we knew when we came that we liked this area that we're in, but we also, you know, we're like, we knew we liked visiting. We're going to try living here. We're like, we don't know for sure if we're going to love it. We don't know if we're going to hate it. We don't know if once we get here and see more of the country, there isn't somewhere else that we decide we really want to live, you know? So we decided to rent first. So we're renting and checking out, you know, the country and different spots and different areas. Like on the weekends, we try to investigate other areas that we haven't seen and things like that. You know, we're thinking about like, ooh, are there other places we would want to live like down the line here?
Yeah, I love that, exploring on the weekends.
Yeah.
Because I've looked at like the rentals. It's I mean, because you're paying in euro, and then you have to keep in mind too, you making US money, you're paying in euro, but then the euro goes up and down. So your rent could go from $200 to $400 more, you know, per month. You don't really have a set rate. I mean, because you're basing it off of.
Yeah, you have a fluctuating budget of expenses that would happen. So that would be difficult if you're a digital nomad and you don't have, or, you know, you have an optimal situation because both of you are able to have employment. But if you're by yourself, because we have a lot of solo travelers, this is why we're having this discussion.
Yeah,
you're by yourself, it makes it a little bit more difficult to budget when you don't really know where your expenses might fall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes sense because it's like, yeah, when you convert it and it kind of changes. I mean, I feel like the euro has stayed relatively consistent, but it does fluctuate. So it's like the difference doesn't feel like it's a major difference, but every time like you transfer, you know, that type of thing, yeah, there's a conversion that you have to deal with too, and you have to count that into it. I think that for us, the converting of money is worth it for the other side, you know? Like I feel like there's so many of our expenses here that are a lot lower than they were in the States.
Especially like California. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
California.
Yeah.
So you're still working on US projects, but now that you're, you know, living in Europe, living in Portugal, and they have a thriving film industry there as well. Any chance that you might look into maybe doing some, you or your husband doing some editing for, you know, a European conglomerate, or have you already done that? Or
oh, absolutely. We haven't yet, but like I look into it all the time because we're, you know, we're freelance. And so, yeah, we would absolutely do that. And I know there's, I think like a big studio opening in the Algarve, and there's a lot of things happening. So we're definitely up for that. Yeah, we're open to all of it really. But then, you know, we have all of our contacts in the States. So that's kind of like what is, you know, very solid for us. But yeah, we're definitely open.
And then my last question, since I know we're getting late and getting close to the hour time, was how did the SAG strike and all of that writer strike? And I know it impacted, we heard writers, we heard actors, but some of people mentioned that there were other people behind the scenes that were kind of impacted by the strike that happened. So can you talk a little bit about maybe how, because that happened like right during you guys' move, right?
It did.
So how did you guys work with that and deal with that? And how did it impact you, if any? And how did it maybe touch your move at all?
Yeah, I have to say that we're finding it more impactful, the aftermath of it, than during for us. So, like when we moved, we were both working on things. Like I was working on a documentary. Like he had two shows like booked for when we got there. So we were booked, but then but at the same time, we work on a lot of reality, non-scripted stuff. So it doesn't involve writers. It doesn't involve any of that. And it's stuff that I think had already been shot. So it was like, we were just in the post-production phase of things. Now, after though, it's been a real slow roll of things getting back up and running again. And that has been difficult for a lot of people, a lot of editors, a lot of people in post-production as well, where like shows haven't they're very slow to start up again in the aftermath of it. So that is difficult. But we were really thankful to be able to work through it because of the type of things that we worked on, that and the timing of it. It wasn't super affected at that time.
Okay, I know I said that as the last question, but I have one more. And that's only because Tyler Perry made a big announcement about halting his use of editors and on-site locations and cameramen and all these kind of things for his film production company. So do you have any concerns about how, I guess it's a new AI technology that's come out that will, that a lot of people in entertainment industry that do this kind of work are kind of concerned about? Have you guys talked about it? Have you got any concerns? What are the people in your network saying about this new technology and how it might impact you guys?
I mean, anytime you hear about stuff like that, it's super concerning, but I think a lot of us are really hopeful that, just because we know what it takes to make television and to make film and to do the stuff. And yes, I'm sure you can automate certain things. And I think as humans, we can feel that in it. You know what I mean? Like when you take the human aspect out of it, it's not going to be the same. Yeah. Like quirky humor things or subtle nuanced things that I think sometimes studios and stuff don't even realize that we're putting in there that are making it life. It won't be there. Yeah. I just, you know what I mean? So it's while it's worrisome, I think that what all of us with our human hands bring to these things is not really replaceable. I mean, you can try, but it's not going to be the same product. And I think because you're selling it to humans, we can see that, we can feel it, and it's going to feel different. And I don't know. I would be hopeful that it would be short-lived.
I'm glad to hear you say that because when I think about how people are so excited about this, the studios are excited because they're thinking about making more money. But I think what I like to hear from creatives, from yourself, is that you understand there's a level of humanity that goes into your work. And to hear you use that as the foundation of why you believe that you're hopeful means a lot to us who are the consumer of content, the consumer of entertainment, because we look to these stories to use as platforms to discuss our own issues in humanity, our own human experience. And I can't imagine consuming content that's created by a machine that has no idea, other than what it's been input, about the human existence, especially when it comes to stories of Black and brown people and marginalized people and communities. I can't imagine consuming a story that hasn't had a human eye that's really related to when it comes to the editing and the perfecting of a scene in a story or a movie or a breakdown that we're watching on reality TV. We connect to those things because of the editing that's involved in connecting to that human experience. So thank you
Yeah,
for saying that. I appreciate that.
and it's every piece of it. It's, it's the story producers, it's the people in the field, it's it's every aspect of it. It's touched by a person who can see something or notice something or get a nuance of something or sense an emotion in someone to follow them with that camera at that time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You can't speak to humanity from a place of inhumanity.
Great quote.
Yes, yes. One last question from Jordan. Do they have rent control in Portugal? I guess, cap on how much they can charge you.
I don't know. I don't know, actually. That is a good question. I will find out and I will post something about it. I don't know. Because it might be even a thing where like I don't think there is in the building I'm in, but there may be certain buildings that are
Yeah.
or certain parts of town. I don't know. I'm not sure. So I will find that out. That's a really good question.
And I've placed her IG in the chat. We have her YouTube on the screen here. Looking to Bounce is all platforms looking to bounce. You have TikTok?
I do have TikTok. It is also at Looking to Bounce.
All right. Quickly, before we get out of here, what is your favorite Portuguese drink?
Ooh, either birao or amorguinha with lemon.
Bidal or what is the other one?
Birao, it's like birao, like Beira with the till O, I believe, or amorguinha. It's like an almond liqueur with lemon. It's good.
Okay. That is Beirao.
Yes.
Okay,
Birao.
I see it. That is that like what is this?
It's like a liqueur that has kind of a like not like cinnamony, but like a clovey kind of warm. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe. It's good.
Okay. Yes, I'm 21 and older. I'm a little older than 21. All right. Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks good. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
neither.
And they use it sometimes to make a, like caipirinha, like a caiparao. That like they use that, I think, instead of
Yes, caipirinha, my favorite. That's my favorite.
So they make their version here, which is a caiparao. I'm probably not pronouncing it right, which my Portuguese teacher is going to be like, girl. But yeah.
So they, instead of using cachaça, which is Brazilian rum, they use this.
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's the sub. It's really good.
Nice. Favorite food?
Favorite food here?
Mm-hmm.
I really like pão de Deus. It's this bread. It's called like bread of God. It's like a real fluffy bread, and it's like got a coconut. It's like a coconut bread, and then they cut it open and they slather it with butter, and you get like some ham and some cheese on it, and it's a pão de Deus mista, like a mixed sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds.
And also all the fish. All the fish.
Ooh.
I love seafood.
Is it like baked or like fried or grilled?
Normally just grilled, like just simple and delicious. And yeah, I love it. There's like 17 different kind of prawns I've never seen before. Like the seafood section is a journey. Like there are things I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I want to put it in my mouth.
Wow. Yes. I love the food in Spain too. And it's more of like a somewhat of a Mediterranean. It's like very fresh, very prepared lightly, and it's not overcooked, it's not over fried.
Not over sauced.
Not over salted, right? Yeah.
Sometimes the beef stuff you can, like a pica-pau, like it's like pickled vegetables and like beef and like gravy, but the gravy's good.
Yeah.
It's like, it's different. It's just really good.
It sounds
Okay.
good. Making me
I love
hungry.
everything I've eaten here. Like, I love it all. So good.
I know you got me wanting to go to Portugal for the food
I-
now.
You
Man,
need to go.
I'm like, so it's funny that you said, because in July I was supposed to go, thinking about going to Paris for the Olympics or whatever. And I said I was going to stay extra and go to Portugal while I was over there because I really want to go to Lisbon because it's like been a place that's been on my list for a really long time. And I was in London in last fall, that's what made me spark my interest about Portugal, is being in London and France. And I was just like, I should have went to Portugal. So yeah, I may not go to Paris now, so I'm thinking maybe I go to Portugal. Is Portugal cool in July, or is there a better time of year to go?
From what I understand, haven't been in July. It'll be my first July, but apparently July is when everyone comes to Portugal.
Of course.
So I think it's going to be crowded, but at the same time, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be lit. I think throughout the summer, I think there's lots of like beach concerts, like through Lisbon, through the beaches along the coast. Like we have a concert here. Oh my gosh. Right by, like walking distance from my apartment, I found out they're having a jazz fest at the Hippodromo in Cascais. The band Air is going to be there performing Moon Safari, and Shaka Khan is going to be there.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just like we get like lots of concerts. There's a ton of concerts. Like Olivia Rodrigo is going to be here in the summer. Like Jonas Brothers. There's going to be like all kinds of things going on in the summer. So it'll be crowded, I think, but I think it will be really fun.
Okay. I'll
Yes,
keep that in mind.
because I think they had Afro something out there, Afro festival with like Afro I'm a piano and dance hall. I forgot the name of that. They have it a few other places, but they had it out in Portugal.
Afro punk. They had Afro punk in Portugal.
Well, not Afro punk, but the other Afro festival.
I think I saw something because I was looking at all the different like festivals and concerts that are coming, and that sounds kind of familiar. But there's so many different things. Like, yeah, it's pretty neat. Lisbon's really cool. I like every time I go to the city, I love it.
Oh, Afro Nation.
Afro Nation. It was in Algarve.
Oh, in the Algarve.
Algarve, yeah, the Algarve.
So that's like the south. That's like, yeah, super south. But I haven't been down there yet. I've heard it's beautiful. I can't wait to go down there.
Yeah, they're having it again in June 26th to the 28th. What's her name went out there? D that I think you had on. No, the UI UX designer that we had on. Yeah, she did a video on that. It was really cool. Her and her girls went out there. But I'm not gonna hold you any longer. We 8 minutes over. I said an hour only. And it's like what 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, it is 1:08 a.m.
Yes, let the lady go to bed. Again, we gotta have like a 1 year checkup on you. Is August to be your 1 year?
Yeah, August 9th, it'll be 1 year here.
Yes.
We gotta do a follow-up.
Yes, 1 year in Portugal, follow up.
Yeah, and I'm gonna find out about the rent control and about like the other things that we talked about with like the visas and the different stuff. I'm gonna find out and I'll let you know so you can share it with your people, and I'll share it on all of my things as well.
Yes, people want to know about that, especially with that visa stuff, because it changes so much with Portugal, especially.
And just so you are aware, be careful with me because I will DM and say, hey, by the way, I booked a flight to Portugal and I'm coming.
Please do. Like
I have a habit of hanging out with previous guests. Adrian too. I'm not the only one. Adrian too.
No, let me know if you guys are coming, and like we'll get together. We'll like go out to dinner. We'll like do stuff. Yeah, that would be really fun.
Yes,
we left an open invitation to like everyone, and so far, like we've had quite a few people take us up on it, which has been great.
That's good. A lot of people have had the opposite, so that's great.
Yeah, one of my best girlfriends is like, she came out here. She was the first one to come, and she's just like, when's there another flight? Like, let me see if I can find another flight. Like, she's like ready, and I'm just like, anytime. moment's notice.
What's the purpose of friends and family who live abroad if you're not going to go visit them? I don't understand it.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes. Well, Candace, we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Definitely check out her Instagram, Looking to Bounce, YouTube. Subscribe to her YouTube. She got a lot of great information on there. Love her thumbnails, love her editing. She's showing it in her work, what she does for work.
Yeah.
Yes. So any parting words for the people, Candace? We let you end it out.
Thanks for having me. If you're thinking about this as a thing for yourself and it seems crazy, it's not crazy. I know it's not always feasible and possible for everyone, but it might be possible for you. It is worth looking into. It is worth trying if you're thinking about it. It's worth it. It's worth the try. Even if you have kids, you don't have to wait until they graduate. You might be able to do it now.
All right. And with that, we're going. Thank you all.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Till next time.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.